Good afternoon, Belize and the world. My name is Kelvin Baizar. I am founder of Depiction Paintings. Today, the Art Shack Gallery and myself has teamed up to take us in depth in one of my recent work. The idea is to bring across some of the work entails in getting the piece completed, but not only that, but also getting an understanding of why we create these things and what kind of message as an artist we are trying to send. So the painting that I want to go through with you will be the one behind me that is titled In the Companies of Gods. What my aim was at the time was trying to bind tourism along with having a local appreciation for our cultural representation. I wanted this piece to not only resonate with visitors of Belize, but also my Belizean people. Now, let me take you through the process of how the vision came on board. I mean, when it comes to Belize, Belize is very diverse. And with that diversity comes many subjects. So it begins with a challenge for me, which culture would I like to represent first? Now, In the Company of God is only one of a series. And I choose the Mayan theme at this moment because I think currently they are very dynamic, they are very historical, and again, when you think about tourism, there's no doubt that the Mayan temples are a huge attraction. The objective here that I was trying to accomplish is to have a bond between history and current local tradition. So you could see the subject. I choose the Mayan temple to represent our prehistoric Mayans. And I choose current Mayan lifestyle and tradition to represent what is happening currently with our culture in terms of the Mayans. The vision came firstly by trying to really represent the Mayans as if though I myself was a part of the culture. So I spent a lot of time researching on subject references that I could actually incorporate it to make this piece come to life. So I started out searching for Mayans, and I tried searching for Mayans that are locally represented because, of course, you know, we have Mayan culture spread across the Central Atlantic, even in Mexico or Guatemala. So they have different types and culture of Mayans. One of the things that I was gearing towards was to ensure that when I represent them, it was representing them from Belize. So once I accumulate my subject references, then I normally will do some photo editing in Photoshop. So I do a lot of photo manipulation to create what I would say like maybe some kind of value sketch or value study of the composition. So I create this composition as if though it is the painting itself in Photoshop. Once I'm happy with the composition and I feel like the message is there, then I study the lighting. The lighting is very important for me because I have to think in terms of values, I have to think in terms of vibrance, I have to think in terms of what pops, what is attractive, what will you see when you see the finished product. Photoshop allows me to do all of this, and once I have done with that, then I think about the size of the canvas. Once I establish the size of the canvas, for example, this particular piece is 6 feet by 5 feet. Canvas size is very important. Whether you're a beginner artist or an experienced artist, we all know that size of the canvas makes the difference, right? You could have a big canvas with a poor work, the impact will not be there. But when we think about a subject like culture, when we think about a subject with figures in it, we gotta go grand. These canvases are generally not available in retail stores, especially in Belize. So something this size will definitely have to stretch or create on our own. Once I reach to the point where I've actually stretched the canvas, my next step is to sketch the work that I have put together on the canvas. That is a little bit tedious, but most artists will tell you that a good sketch derive a good painting, right? So I would spend maybe a couple days, maybe almost a week sketching, because I always tell other artists that the mistake on the painting is better be done in the sketch phase than when you're completing it or in the process of adding colors. So I would make sure that my sketch is precisely done in terms of shape, figure, form, size, and make sure all of those stuff are very well done. After the sketch phase is completed, then my blocking phase starts. My blocking phase is an area where I cover the sketch so that it doesn't mix with my colors, and then put in major colors that I know would be centerpieces. For example, I know the Mayan ruin is a centerpiece on the painting, so I ensure that gets a special attention, as opposed to the sky and the trees where you can see the kind of attention or focus on form and shape was not done the same way. Likewise, the two figure in the painting was given as much attention as the Mayan temple, because I know that these three objects were the ones that will tell the story or pass the message on to the viewer. In terms of time frame, I started this painting a little bit in the mid of February, and it carried across during the lockdown on the COVID pandemic, and I was very esteemed to have completed it because it was a time when we were actually facing a tough challenge. Many of us were facing a new challenge like never before. But it took me about 3 months to complete this piece. And I was very happy because I think it was an inspiration, it was an encouragement, especially during a time when we were feeling down and we were out and we would have been hopeless. I think I gave a lot of people hope, especially to the Mayan community. I think they felt very well praised about it because it was truly a representation of their culture. In terms of some of the challenges that I faced, there were quite a few, particularly because one, it was a complete scene, and we all know that when we are working on a scene, we have to really think in terms of subject relationship. That was not exactly the challenge, but to think of it at every stroke of the brush makes you really rethink if your shades are done correctly. Am I working too much on the Mayan temple? Will the figures be outstanding enough? Things like those are some of the challenges. But particularly, I had some challenges with the temple itself, because what I was trying to achieve with the temple is not that typical black and gray scale that you would see on the temple when you pay them a visit. I wanted to think about how this temple would look if we were those pre-classic Mayans, if we were those Mayans looking at this temple being done, right? But I also did something to give you an idea in terms of a time frame difference. What I did with the temple was to put a lot of moss plant on it to make it look like it's prehistoric, right? That was a challenge for me, because if you take any pictures of a Mayan temple in Belize, those moss is not there on the temple. So the challenge for me was to really get those onto the temple, but also not to take away from the beauty of the temple itself. So that was the biggest challenge in this painting for me. To do something unique with the temple, which would have been my unique expression of the temple, but also to maintain the structure, the form, and the strength of the temple itself. It was very rewarding for me at the end of the painting though, because it came out exactly the way I envisioned it. And I also hope that the message in terms of history and tradition was shared with you through this painting. And thank you guys again, and I hope you enjoy my talk of a deeper insight on our paintings.